Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to Father Malone's Weekly Roundup. I am Father Malone. The pug beside me is Miss Ripley Jean. Have I mentioned how fucking hot it's been in the desert? It's like a desert out there. I got HP dropping by in a moment or two talking news of the week. I do want to apologize that this isn't the usual in-depth analysis of whatever it is I'm talking about, if that's what I do. I remain committed to the twice-a-week format here at Midnight Viewing, but it's a little bit difficult week in and week out late. So for the next couple of weeks, I'll do my best to keep at least one new show every week, and then we'll pepper in some guest spots I've done on other people's shows over the years, which the host of those shows have graciously allowed me to do so I can get some sleep. Ah, the life of a full-time monster, everyone. In that regard, all is fucking well. I love my gig. Look forward to work every day, which is rare, and I take none of it for granted. What's funny is I make these little 1-minute ads for Midnight Viewing basically every day, and it always includes a clip of whatever I'm discussing. And when you do that, and you put it on social media, you run into the copyright algorithm, which just flags everything that the copyright holder owns, regardless of context. It is a deeply flawed system. I am, in most cases, talking about movies that have been out for decades, and usually speaking pretty glowingly of those titles. So putting aside the fair use bit for a second, the fact is, 9 times out of 10, it's a free advertisement for their flicks with no remuneration on my part. Pretty stupid. The most egregious company is always MGM UA. They fucking swoop in before you finished uploading. And it's never "we've blocked you." Oh, no. It's "we want those few pennies you made from the 1,000 views of our product that you've generated." So fucking lame. The other big sensitive puss is NBC Universal, which is weird because I now work for them, and I take those videos down immediately. Anyhow, before HP arrives, I just wanted to talk for a minute about a flick that was not on my radar at all. And now I've watched it, and I had such a fucking good time watching it that I'd be remiss if I didn't shout about it for a moment. It was a web series that I missed, then an actual series that I missed, and now a big screen adaptation. Nirvana, 2 N's, the band back in 2007 became Nirvana the Band the Show in 2017, and now in 2026 we get Nirvana the Band the Show the movie. I am so glad I was unaware of everything that came before, which I'll explain, but let me give you the premise. 2 idiot friends. The best kind of friends for comedy. They're musicians and are obsessed with getting a gig at the Tivoli Theatre in Toronto. Did I mention this is Canadian? And with all deference to our 2 Canadian listeners, this is probably how none of us heard of the show. They plot, they overplot, they execute poorly, and they always end up back where they start. It's effectively Pinky and the Brain meets Tenacious D. And that plot continues into the feature, only now they've sprinkled in some Back to the Future, with a time-traveling Winnebago subplot where they get back to 2007 and interact with their former selves. Evidently, most of the on-the-street stuff in the web series and series proper was entirely improvisational, with every interaction with the public a genuine one, and they do that again here too, and all of it is extremely funny. I might be underselling it. Here's the trailer.
Watch out! Watch out!
What's going on here?
It's just, well, this is actually kind of hard to explain.
Time machine plan. This is going to be the last plan you and I ever have to do. And as far as I'm concerned, Nirvana the Band is playing the Rivoli tonight. We have the RV, deck it out like the DeLorean. Ah! So it's a full-time machine! Okay, watch this. Hold on to your butts! The time machine worked, and we are in 2008.
Oh my God. Matt, it's 2008.
I told you!
Now it's a holiday!
Real goths. We are trapped. How can we use this to get a show at the Rivoli?
No, that's secondary now.
This could have insane ramifications.
Oh, Richard. You really f***ed us up.
I did not do anything. I see. You're like, work's done for the day. We've done too much. It's time to play. I'm like Teen Wolf. A little bit, right?
Now it's a holiday!
No! Come check us out at the Rivoli later.
Do you have a show at the Rivoli?
We could be playing any day. Right off the bat, they're going to ask for an encore.
No!
Ladies and gentlemen, you're probably wondering who we are. We are Nirvana the Band. if you're watching this in theaters, thank your lucky stars.
So the plot is wafer thin. The actual musician in the band figures out his partner is keeping him back and decides to split, but in doing so, accidentally triggers his partner's latest scheme, which is travel back in time and make sure one of their promotional stunts works. And just like Back to the Future, they fuck up timelines and their present and need to make it all right. The guys are Matt Johnson, the schemer of the group, and Jay McCarroll, the actual musician. Johnson is a feature filmmaker in his own right, having made The Dirties in 2013, which I have not seen, and Operation Avalanche in 2017, which I did. It's a faux documentary of the faking of the moon landing, and it's really fun. He also did that flick Blackberry, about the Blackberry, had no idea, and this month, he's got a biopic of Anthony Bourdain out called Tony. I haven't seen that yet. I'm reserving judgment. But can I just say, the idea of the badass chef is one of the most hilarious tropes I've ever heard of. It feels so fucking overcompensating. You know, when I was a kid, there was this strict societal determination of what was masculine and what was feminine, and cooking was always feminine. The thought that you'd come home from work and have to cook? My God, what? That's for ladies. Which was ridiculous then and is ridiculous now, but I always felt like the culinary world was forever fighting that stigma, and Bourdain was the apotheosis of it. I wear chucks and I prowl the back alleys looking for danger cuisine. Anyway, Johnson seems to be the brains of the operation, even though he plays the decidedly far more clueless of the two. I am a fan of his now, and will seek out all of his work. I've already gone back and watched the series. It's fucking phenomenal. And you know, on a personal note, I was mentioning my battles with the copyright algorithm. Johnson is a big fair use guy, and, well, here he is to tell you.
Anyway, the way fair use is, so here's a little fair use lesson. In a traditional movie or TV show, you're not allowed to show licensed or copywritten material without getting approval of the copyright owner. But if you need to show that stuff in order to tell the story that you're telling, and by that I mean if you have a strong narrative reason for using the licenses that you're using, then there is a way through fair use that you can use that stuff without informing the copyright holder and without paying anything. But what you need to have is a very, very strong connection between your plot
And your lawyer.
well, you need a very strong connection with your lawyer.
Fair use, it's our...
But that's how you do
And
it.
he certainly did it here. They used the plot, they remade props, they play scenes in the background, and at least one whole music cue are all stolen directly from Back to the Future. It's cuckoo, and I fucking loved it. And since I've already decried one institution with Anthony Bourdain, can I just say that Back to the Future is a good movie? It's good. It's not the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread. That script is tight as a drum, I get it. That filmmaking is ultra smooth, we know. But let's let it go, shall we? I think once you get past a time-traveling film's actual projected future, it's okay to put it back on the shelf for a while. Suburban white kid creates rock and roll? Okay. Speaking of, did you ever read the initial drafts of Back to the Future, where Marty was a VHS pirate in collusion with his pal Doc Brown, who lived in a dingy apartment in downtown Los Angeles, and made a time machine out of a refrigerator? That whole ridiculous nuke the fridge moment from Indiana Jones and the Aliens movie, only they're not aliens, they're interdimensional travelers, that moment originated with Doc and Marty. And when Marty gets back to the 80s, it's still the 50s, except better technology. So basically Fallout. And rock and roll had never occurred. It's hilarious that they didn't see that as a dystopian future. Never-ending 50s sounds fucking horrible to me, but it is the dream of the baby boomers. Anyway, Nirvana the Band, the show, the movie, is a pretty high mark in a year of some pretty great movies, honestly. Hollywood ain't dead, it's just finally embraced all the weirdo indie flicks as tentpoles. And the reason I mentioned that it ended up being a benefit having no prior exposure to Nirvana the Band or Nirvana the Band the show is it ended up making the feel minorly epic in the way that Boyhood did. Remember Boyhood? That middling drama that was vaulted up to Best Picture status based solely on the fact that it was made over a few decades? Well, you get the same feeling watching 2026 Jay and Matt traveling back to the aughts as you did watching that film as the characters aged in real time. It's a real nifty trick that I don't know would have worked as well had I been privy to them all those years ago. But as is, whoo boy, I cannot recommend the film enough. I just watched The Pick of Destiny again recently, and this feels of a kind. Man, I love idiot duos, and if they can make music, all the better. What say you, HP? Are you a fan of Wild Stallions? The Blues Brothers? Lenny and Squiggy. Lenny and the Squig Tones.
I'm going to be lame and say the only one that really comes to mind, and it's only because they wrote the book on it latter day, is probably Tenacious D.
What do you watch for television, Aiden?
I've been watching Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness. That
Oh,
I think
yeah.
is
I gave that a second chance. If for those of you who don't know, Larry David's got a new series. It's basically sketches of his set in American history. So a lot of colonial stuff, honestly.
mostly.
So it's Curb Your Enthusiasm set in the colonial era. It's the same complaints, it's the same foibles. It's just that they're in powdered wigs now.
It's 100% the same, but and it is hit or miss. I'm willing to admit that there's some skits go on too long, they don't work, but when they hit, they really hit. There was an episode or two ago they had Bill Hader playing Abraham Lincoln. who
Okay,
is
now that I'll tune in for because it's Hater.
fantastic. And you can tell it worked because it's probably the longest of all of the vignettes that they've had yet because he is so good. And you could there's a vibe when you can tell that Larry David really is having fun in the scene. It's fantastic. It was worth the whole series just for this so far.
Yeah, I watched the first episode, and the very first sketch was like just a cavalcade of old Larry David material,
Yeah.
just with the founding fathers, and I was like, is that what this is just going to be? Like all of his old shit, with like dressed up in finery?
But the weird thing is, he also, like, out of nowhere, and it's not even that funny, he will take a pot shot at some aspect of the current administration. Have you noticed that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's one where it's just a runner about how the president would never do this, and it's just basically a litany of everything that our current president has done. And there's no real punchline. He's just basically beating up on the president. And there was one recently where he beats up on RFK Jr. It's crazy. But I respect the hell out of Larry David for doing that because what does he care?
Who else is doing it? You know what I've been doing, HP? You know what I've been obsessing over lately?
What's that?
Battlestar Galactica. Now, listen, listeners, I guess I'm
I
letting you in
noticed
on
that.
something here. Yeah. Waller and I have been doing a show over on his show. His show is A Year in Horror. And on his Patreon channel, he partners up with other creators, and we pick a topic or whatever. And he and I have been doing A Little Old Lady Got Mutilated Late Last Night, which is a look at werewolf films. And culminating at the end of the year with the Robert Eggers release, Werewolf. So we basically ran out of werewolf movies, and now we decided for next year we're going to be doing a full rewatch of Battlestar Galactica, the remake of the series back from 2004 to 2008. Not the original series, although we'll be talking about that one a lot because it's not like I don't love the original series, but we are going to be focusing on it. It's called Just a Centon Skin Job, the Battlestar Galactica podcast. That'll be on my Patreon channel as well as Paul Waller's. So yes, HB, in kind of excitement for it, I thought, I had watched, it's a 4-series show, and I got, I think, 3.5 in. So I've never actually finished the series. And I thought the other day, let me just watch the pilot, which was a mini-series, basically like a 3-hour movie. And I got hooked so fucking quick, and now I'm blazing through the episodes. Like, when we finish here, I'll probably watch an episode of Battlestar Galactica and then get back to work on another podcast.
That's cool. That's another one I missed the boat on. But to be fair, I wasn't even that big. I was probably too young to really understand the original series. I just thought that the Cylons were cool looking, and I had an action figure of it, but I didn't have any real grasp of what the show was about.
Look, it's a lot of Mormon hoo-ha. Glenn Larson was basically he wasn't a science fiction guy necessarily, but it's all Mormon theology there, like the 12 tribes and the 12 colonies and out amongst the stars and the telestial and the celestial. And it's a good basis for a series. It didn't really fulfill what it meant to in that first series back in the 70s. They didn't even know that they were having a series, honestly, until they were like, you're now making a series. They thought they were making a little mini-series, and that would come back and do another mini-series down the line. But what I found with the Ronald Moore version of it, Ronald D. Moore, I'm sure know, he was a massive influence on Star Trek Next Generation. He was a writer there, and Deep Space Nine as well. And this was his first series as the showrunner, I believe. And he turned it into this parable of America post 9/11, 2 years after 9/11. And it's a remarkable piece of work. And you felt it at the time. And now rewatching it, it's even more relevant. So anyway.
Cool. Look forward to that podcast.
That's right, you will. I'll make you come on it and talk about something you haven't seen yet. Including, look, I'm trying to rope HP in here to watching the fucking Griffin incident. For those of you who are Strange New Worlds fans, the latest Star Trek episode, the evidently incredibly divisive episode, as it turns out. I heard nothing but praise the day after it came out, and now there's all this sort of backlash, which some of the filmmakers have had to step out and defend, which is crazy, because I thought it was one of their best.
You know what's weird? Everything, every bit of geek culture that comes out, it almost invariably ends up being divisive for one reason or another. You just can't have a popular show and not have half the people love it and half people hate it. But there is one piece of geek entertainment that's come out in the last, let's say, I want to spoil it, 2 months, let's say, that feels like everybody universally agrees it's really good. And what would that be, Father Malone? Do you know? Do you have an idea of what I'm talking about?
If there is, I'm running away from it. What is it?
Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, everyone likes it.
Yeah, it feels like I haven't read, the only stuff that I've read where people are like, some people complain about the Hulk CG not being that good. And
what?
I don't know, what that's nitpicking to the extreme there. But I'm encouraged by the fact that even people who aren't big Spider-Man fans or comic book fans seem like they get it. They understand why it's a special movie, and I'm warmed by that.
If you haven't subscribed to Destin Daniel Cretton's Instagram, you ought to. He posts nothing but behind-the-scenes shit. He posted a video of them rehearsing the people that Jean Grey is leaping into. You have a rehearsal room with all of these
I've
people.
Seen that, yeah.
Oh my God, so fantastic, man!
It's crazy.
I love it. I love entertainment. I love showbiz.
I saw the making of the fight he had with Scorpion, and what truly shocked me was how much of what you see on screen is practical. I just naturally assume that anytime Spider-Man fights, that it's just a CG creation. Not the case here. A surprising amount of that, really a lot of the action is a stuntman presumably, doing these fight scenes. It's crazy how it looks so good, and I just said, wow, the CG's come a long way. No, it's the real deal.
I always point to the worst of let's fully trust that we can animate a human being in CG to Blade 2, where, oh my God, man, it is so bad where they have two CG characters flipping and kicking and defying gravity. It's like we're already looking at it in a suspect way, and then they break the bonds of gravity, and you're like, what are you doing? I guess Matrix Reloaded was the big one for that, with the burly brawl.
Oh yeah, and funny, I just
overreaching, gentlemen, overreaching.
In the last month, I watched on YouTube, someone posted when DVDs were a thing, you would get The Matrix, and they'd have a big making of, and some of these were really long. They were like movies in their own right, almost like a documentary bonus. Anyway, I was watching the one that had to do with the making of The Matrix and The Matrix Reloaded, and yeah, you should have seen them patting themselves on the back for the burly brawl. And sure, at the time, you could even
even then it was like it's a little like watching a wax museum come to life and attack itself.
Yeah, but I personally, I'm a very big proponent of suspension of disbelief. I tend to give filmmakers the benefit of the doubt unless it's really egregious. So, and at the time, I was so stoked to see the sequel to The Matrix because I loved the first one that I kind of gave it a pass. But now, in retrospect, it's it's not quite up to scratch.
I'd like to know, listeners, which you think is the worst of the CG films. We're talking about the 90s here because that's where the worst offenders would be. Let me know the worst of them, and then HP and I are going to watch that movie because I think that'd be hilarious. And, of course, I'm immediately thinking of Spawn. Let me throw that out there to people if they want to vote for that one, because the CG can't be worse than that movie, can it?
There's a YouTube channel that I believe it's just a bunch of guys that are special effects professionals, and they will... One episode that I watched was the worst to the best top 10 CG cameos in movies. Or not cameos.
Do you know, let me stop you just for a second. I'm sorry, HP, but definitely continue when I finish.
Sure.
Those videos... The padding with these guys on their couch, and this is not just them, because there are other channels there are other channels that do this too, where maybe they're just standing around and staring, where they're all like, one of them is too energetic and jumping around like a fucking monkey, and one of them is stoic, and the other, you know what I mean? They've picked their character. You know what I want? I want a side-by-side comparison on the screen with maybe a narrator. That's it.
I 100% agree. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're just describing something generic, because that's what you get with these channels. It's like Dude Perfect. People, like my kids used to watch Dude Perfect, and it's the same thing. It's a group of people. One guy's super energetic, one guy is more studious and direct, and one guy maybe is a little more space. Anyway, this one had to do with CG recreations of people in movies. So you had
Okay, now I've seen the same one they did Peter Cushing. Yeah, yeah.
You saw this, and it kind of surprised me. I wish I could remember all of the ones that they hit, but some of them they rated highly. I said, well, "You're nuts! This is not good." Peter
They were
Cushing, I think,
all terrible. Let me just say, at a certain point, they're all terrible. And you can rate it. The Paul Walker one, they're like, oh, yeah, that was really good. I'm like, no, it isn't. It looks terrible, man. It took you out of the movie. It was so... Anyway.
Yeah, I think they rated Princess Leia in Rogue One over Peter Cushing in Rogue One. And I was like, they're both pretty terrible.
They're both terrible. And you know what was funny? Within minutes of that movie coming out, somebody had deep faked them correctly. And you could see it was like, oh, yeah, that's Peter Cushing. That's Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, they did the same thing with The Mandalorian when Luke Skywalker came and rescued them from...
That guy got hired.
Yeah, but I went nuts when I watched it just because I wasn't expecting it and I loved it. But whoever that was that deepfaked it, it was so much more effective. I just don't know why these studios, is it a pride thing where they can't admit that somebody with a MacBook can do a better job than everything at their fingertips? I don't know.
And why wouldn't they, between the time of release in theaters and release on physical media, I guess that's all going away is my answer, but just replace it with the better version?
There's no shame there. Here's the thing. People get up in arms about that just because of the whole George Lucas wanting to supplant the originals with his vision, and I get that. But in this case, I don't know anyone who's going to complain that an updated Peter Cushing simulacrum is going to be a better experience watching Rogue One. I would buy an enhanced edition that had better CG. Of course I would.
Yeah, it's money on the table. Go take it. Nobody's going to fault you for that. The kid who did the deep fake of Mark Hamill and then ended up getting hired by ILM. That's the new Schwab's drugstore story, right?
Marilyn Monroe.
Hey, it was Rita Hayworth.
Rita Hayworth.
There was a kid I don't know if he was in England, but he did his own version of what he thought the opening for Doctor Who should be for the next season, and they basically fucking did it. They paid that kid and then made his credit sequence happen, and it was an awesome credit sequence.
I mean, good for him. I wish I was young and I had that expertise. It would delight me to get hired by these studios. Why not?
It's not too late. Actually, it's too late. It is too late.
It is far too late.
It's all over.
It is.
The best we could do is become model makers at this point, because that's what's actually going to be in demand. The old way of like Greg Gine whacking out little Monopoly houses for the backgrounds of scenes in 1941.
Yeah, but how many more years until we start to get arthritis in our hands? We can't even do that, Father Malone.
Why are you such a downer at all times,
I don't
HB?
know.
This is not a recent thing, by the way, listeners. He's been this way since high school.
Anyway.
It's like being friends with Eeyore.
No, that's not true. That is not true. Just being a realist.
The grand defense of the pessimist.
Say the grand defense of the pessimist. I'm just being real.
Yeah. I'm just telling it like it is. You called that person fat. Well, they are fat. No, you're an asshole. That's just keeping it real, yo.
I'm just saying what no one else will say. I'm a truth talker. What can I say?
I'm saying what you're all thinking. None of us are thinking that.
None of us are thinking.
The rest of us are decent. Don't speak.
Have you had a chance to see? We were just talking. I think this is an A24 movie. The trailer for Primetime, starring Robert Pattinson.
I have, actually.
I am so unreasonably excited for this movie because he looks fantastic in it.
He does. I'm very excited as well. Like the same way I was. What was that movie Spotlight about that Boston Globe magazine?
With Mark Ruffalo
and Michael Keaton, like exposing the archdiocese in Boston. Like that seems like of the same piece. And yeah, I'm very excited for. Although this seems a lot meaner and scarier.
This is more like, what was that movie, Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal? It feels like a truer version of that.
Yeah, I was also thinking of Manhunter, the Michael Mann film, the first Hannibal Lecter film. That sort of everything seems a little overlit and glossy, but like
Sort of saturated, yeah.
but chrome and deadly.
Yeah, it looks great to me. I remember those shows when they were on to catch a predator when they. Why don't you have a seat there? You get ready for a big night. And look, no one is going to defend any of these creeps who are going to a house under these sorts of pretenses, but it went bad, like pretty bad, pretty far into it. I mean, someone killed themselves after being exposed.
Yeah, and I gotta say that there are like channels out there where people make it their business to go find pedophiles and harass them and beat up on them on camera. I'm curious with the discussion that happens after this movie comes out, in particular in the overall sense of let's get those files out, huh?
That's the irony of this. But anything that keeps that discussion going in the national consciousness, I think, is a good thing. But I'd be hard pressed to think of an actor who kind of rebounds from such a puff sort of now a kind of iconic role like Twilight. Like everyone wrote off Robert Pattinson as this like pretty boy kind of actor.
Now, if you excuse the latter half of this 21st century so far, he was following the Johnny Depp method there for a while. Remember, Johnny Depp was basically just a heartthrob dog meat person, and then he was like, fuck that, I'm going to be the weirdest actor available, and then suddenly we loved him and respected him.
He had a hell of a run before he really
flamed out spectacularly.
Too much money, too much fame, too much
wine.
Too much wine. It's such a weird thing.
But they all drink wine, and then they all get bloated, and like, what are you guys doing? Like, you're not a poet. You're a fucking actor.
And I think he was a big Hunter Thompson guy. Like they were buddies. And I think that's probably the tipping point for him after he did Fear and Loathing and Hunter Thompson died, and I think he shot his ashes out of a cannon.
There's a whole movie about that.
Wishes. Yeah. So I think that was I don't have any definitive proof of this, but it felt like that was where things started to go a little south for Johnny Depp. But
I think Johnny. I remember Johnny breaking up hotel rooms over Winona back in the day. So he's always been a little bit out there.
Yeah, I guess I excused that at the time as being just an anguished kind of like a Brando type who's just so into the acting and life and all that. I mean, I think
found out his girl got married to Keanu Reeves under false pretenses.
So I think
I'm joking. They got married on the set of Dracula accidentally. Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm delighted by Robert Pattinson. I think he makes some incredible choices, and I think the guy is a level of cachet that allows him to do these. I mean, this looks like a really interesting movie, and I'm excited for it.
How do you like him as Bruce Wayne?
I liked the Batman a lot. I have to watch it again. I haven't watched it in a long time. I keep saying that because
it's a long movie. It's a commitment.
It is a long movie, but I think there's maybe one too many endings to it. The ending kind of, if I recall, kind of goes on, and it doesn't resolve itself as tidily as I'd like. But I thought he was, for the kind of Bruce Wayne that he's playing, I thought he was fabulous. I thought he was really good. And I would be looking forward to the sequel, but it probably won't come out for another 3 years. So
yeah, come on, guys, get it together, man. I mean, they're the only hope left at DC.
Yeah, but as excessive as that movie might be, I mean, the Penguin chase sequence alone when he's as he drive a Merc, like a souped up Merc or whatever he drives, the Batmobile.
I don't know what the make or model of it. I just know it's one of those muscle cars, a really beefy kind.
He's so relentless, and you think that the Penguin's getting away, and I don't know, that image of him walking out of the car in flames, walking towards the Penguin who's crashed his car. What an incredible image. That movie is better than I remember. Sorry, go ahead.
That particular filmmaker, I think he's clearly our age, maybe younger, but seemed to have picked up everything we loved about The Dark Knight Returns without any of the bullshit.
Yeah.
It feels
I
that
agree there.
real world kind of grit, but it's also outrageous in a way, but it's also larger than life and epic in a way that he hasn't been before. It's operatic in a way that you felt from those comics without any of the right-wing falderall that... Look, I know Frank Miller has come around and now he's being lionized and, oh, I was just a drunk asshole there for a little while. It's like, yeah, you've always been a right-wing asshole, though, man.
He has. He's a mess. I saw him recently, some footage of him at con. I don't know. I don't think it was San Diego Comic-Con, but he's just all curled in on himself.
He looks like Mr. Burns after he owned the casino for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's something sad that's happening health-wise, but I'd be lying if I said that The Dark Knight Returns wasn't a hugely formative piece of work for both of us. So
Snyder ruined it, by the way, cinematically. He just cherry-picked the images he liked and then slapped them into his fucking misbegotten flicks.
See, but I will always have the book. I don't really care what Snyder does because I just dismiss it. I watched it and I said, oh, this is whatever. This is bullshit. And I can always go back to the book and read it. And it's still as good as it was. I still love it.
That book, to me, begins and ends with the Joker. I mean, I love everything else that happens, and we've seen it play out. Like I just said, Snyder stole the entire third act of this movie and condensed it into the stupidest fight scene in history. And then, but just little things like Batman standing on top of the Twin Towers with the rifle with the harpoon in it. He stole that for his movie. Batman breaking up through the floor and grabbing that guy and the machine gun, like all that shit. But to me, the sequence from when the Joker realizes that Batman is back until Batman effectively kills the Joker really kills himself, honestly.
Right.
That whole sequence, that's my favorite part. Because after that, nothing's going to be the same. It's Hunt the Dark Knight was the volume that came after.
And nothing is going to be the same, but I still love the Superman stuff. And that stuff, to me, that their fight scene, no matter who, like Snyder, what he cherry-picked or what he might have bastardized, it's still effective in the same way that the Watchmen is still effective to me. I like the Snyder Watchmen. I haven't seen it in quite some time.
Yeah, as much as I'm bitching about Snyder, I think The Watchmen is a superior piece of work, except for the old age makeup, which drives me fucking crazy every time I see it.
Yeah, no, unquestionably. But it may... I mean, I can't pretend to know all of Snyder's movies, but it may end up being his most watchable, his best movie, in fact.
That might be 300, even though that's incredibly xenophobic, just like Frank Miller's work.
That's true. I guess 300, or what, was it Dawn of the Dead he did the remake of?
That bullshit, yeah.
All right. I didn't know if I haven't seen it.
It's terrible.
I didn't know if you liked it or...
Hot take, terrible movie, awful.
I don't think that's much of a hot take. I think it's...
No, because there are people out there
standard.
who think that's Dawn of the Dead. They think of the old one as some ridiculous version of Zack Snyder's debut masterpiece.
I think Patricia Tallman was in Boston for FanFest recently.
You should have gone and said hi.
We went to that Fangoria convention, and it was just before Night of the Living Dead, the remake, came out.
Oh, yeah, we were in the elevator with her. The 60th Star Trek anniversary celebration happened here in Las Vegas this past weekend.
I saw some of I didn't watch any of the videos, but I saw some of the Lower Deck cast was there, I think. Is that the same place?
Yes. Can I just say, oh no, never mind. I don't want to alienate all of our Star Trek fans. Lower Decks is fine. It's fine. Okay? I just want to say that girl Tawny Newsome, I can't stand her, and she's the face of Lower Decks now, and she wrote a couple of episodes of Starfleet Academy. I don't think she's funny. I don't think she's engaging as a performer, and it's another one of those, here she is. She's going to be all over fucking Star Trek and fandom now because she fucking latched onto it. Is that a hot take? There's a hot take for you. People are going to hate me now because I don't like Tawny Newsome.
I don't even know who that is, but I'll take your word for it.
Do you happen to see what Cinemark is doing early in September there, HP?
Are you talking about the belated celebration of Star Trek's 60th anniversary?
Yeah, you see what they're doing. Tell the folks.
They're doing, it's like essentially a double feature with one of the cinematic, one of the Star Trek movies paired with an episode of the TV series that thematically goes together with it.
Yes. So you can see Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, paired with Space Seed on the big screen. You are a fool if you don't go. I'm going. I know I'm going.
Well,
and then, most interesting, and look, I like, we've talked about it. Star Trek IV is a great movie. I enjoy it just fine. I don't need to see it on the big screen again. However, they're showing City on the Edge of Forever.
Forever. And when I saw the ad, that was my top 1 and 2 right there. Was Trek 2 with Space Seed and 4 with City on the Edge Forever. I think I saw Star Trek 4 multiple times in the theater. I loved it that much at the time.
Yeah, same. So I don't look. I'm happy. Honestly, I would be happy to pay, sit down, watch City on the Edge of Forever, and then stand up and
Then
leave.
leave.
Yeah,
Well,
you know.
because what it reminds me of is, I'm sure you remember when they put out the Star Wars Special Edition, right? They put out Star Wars, and then a few months later, Empire, and then a few months later, Jedi. I got all excited. I went with my brother. I went to Star Wars, and you know what? I was bored out of my fucking skull because you know what? I've seen that movie probably 300,000 times at home. I didn't need to see it in the theater. It bored me to death, so I never went to see Empire or Jedi in the theater.
I saw The Empire Strikes Back, the special edition, on opening weekend at the Mann's Chinese Theater in the big screen. And there was a big, this is opening night, there was a big black scratch down the left portion of the screen during the entirety of the Hoth sequence.
The complete, it couldn't be more conspicuous. The whiteness of it.
Brother, I sat there and I was just like, I was with another projectionist, as a matter of fact, and we're watching it. I went, I don't know if I can do it, man. He's like, no, you have to. We got to power through this. I'm like, it better get dark real fucking soon.
Because, yeah, that is so annoying. It's a special night, opening weekend. You're all excited, and nothing kills your buzz like a shitty print.
All the projectionists in Los Angeles at the time basically knew one another, and we all knew watching that moment that the movie was playing, that particular projectionist had lost his job that day.
What a bummer.
Yeah, that was one of the prestige gigs. Studio gig projectionist was the big one, and beyond that, it was trying to get to either Cinerama Dome or Mann's Chinese.
So was that somebody mishandling the print and marring it?
It could have been a million things. It could have happened when they built it up to begin with, which I don't think they did because they probably showed it. I guarantee you they screened it for quality. So during that process, that's when the scratch happened, which is the worst because you don't know it's happening and you don't know it for the entire movie. If it's coming out of the projector and one little roller is misaligned, like a little black sprocket that sort of glides back and forth, that has frozen in place, and you don't recognize it, then it just drags and pulls all the emulsion off.
Oh, what a bummer.
When Watchmen premiered, which is one of the last film prints I remember building, after Watchmen, everything almost went entirely digital, but I built up 6 prints of that, and left 2 to the other projectionist. Larry Fong, the director of photography for Watchmen, apparently is in Vegas all the time, or lives in Vegas, something Vegas, and this was his theater, came to see Watchmen at my theater that night, sat in the theater of the print I did not build that the fucking kid had scratched. And then we did not have time to screen for quality because they arrived late and they were massive prints. Oh, the embarrassment.
Did he say anything?
He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. I looked in through the porthole, saw what was happening, and went, and then looked at the print and went, nope, it's already on the print, so there's nothing I can do to stop it. Which is why I did embrace digital, even though it was the end of my occupation.
It's a more consistent experience.
Anyway, I was not able to attend any of the convention at all because I had to be a monster for the entire time that it was occurring. Although there was a coworker who showed up in a Deep Space Nine uniform to work every day, so she had planned ahead and managed to make both work.
I'm glad there was some sort of commemoration going on because every time I watch the Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner podcast, they're always lamenting the fact that here we are, it's the 60th anniversary of Star Trek, and Strange New Worlds is the only show that's on the air, and even that's a bit of a lame duck at this point because it's not going to last more than the season, right? Isn't this the last season?
Is this the last season, or do they film another one? I don't know. It's one of those situations where the thing is, Starfleet Academy has another season coming out. They filmed 2 seasons at once. I don't know if they did the same thing with Strange New Worlds. I don't know if this is the final season or they have another one coming. But I know that currently there are no Star Trek properties in production. I think that's what the falderall is there. That for the first time in 35, 40 years, there isn't any Star Trek being made.
And Frakes is right.
Which doesn't mean, by the way, that they aren't writing a script or something. That's like saying in 1987, there's no Star Trek being made. It's like, well, we're getting there. Calm down.
True. And he does his part by showing up for any and all fests that he can, usually with Brent Spiner. But it's nice to see. I know you don't watch the podcast, even though I talk about it all the time.
I watch it enough. I see the clips.
You really have to. They have such a great rapport. There's something so delightful about the fact that all of these next gen cast members, even like Denise Crosby and people who weren't necessarily on the show as long as the main cast necessarily, but they all seem to really love each other. The Michael Dorn episode of this podcast was delightful because it's probably the longest I've ever seen him speak without being dressed up on it. It was really cool.
Oh, that's right. You
sent
sent me a clip from him on Chips with that giant mustache.
With his giant mustache. He was, but what, and I said, I'm going to say this to the listeners, and I said this to you recently, is that one of the most amazing things is all of these guys, Frakes and Spiner and Michael Dorn and all these people, no one really realizes they've been around. They straddled that line between kind of old Hollywood and new Hollywood, because Brent Spiner will be talking about how he worked with George C. Scott or all these old Western performers, and they've just been around so long. They have the best stories about some of these actors that probably most people don't even remember anymore. And it's a shame to think about that whole era of Hollywood kind of disappearing, but they're keeping it alive and having a lot of fun in the process.
There we go. Another commercial for the other podcast from HP on my podcast.